exploring how we can master ourselves by looking at how experts say it is possible with your host, Shashati. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 76 of How to Be with me, Shashati, as your timid presenter, guiding you through life's tricky topics and skills by reading through the best books out there. You're not going to believe it, but it's the last episode in this season, after many amazing guests. You may be surprised to learn that one of your best wellness tools is actually a journal. Journaling offers an array of benefits, from easing stress to sparking self-discovery. While it's not a substitute for therapy, there is a wide-ranging benefits of putting pen to paper. So why should we journal, and how do we even get started? Here is parenting teenagers expert and psychologist Angela Karanja, engineer, yoga teacher, and founder of mindful yoga brand Ladina Yoga, Mason Hassanali, and success coach Mira Shah on their thoughts.
So, there are 5 beautiful benefits of journaling. The first one I would say is that you have a safe space to declare your struggles without judgment. 2, when you put your thoughts down, there's a clarity that comes with it. 3, it can help you prioritize problems, and in doing so, you evoke solutions. Journaling provides a track of feelings and possible triggers. The best one of them all is an opportunity for self-affirmations. So when is the best time to do journaling? I believe is set a time either first thing in the morning or last thing in the night and write down your thoughts. In addition to that, have little sticky notes where you record your feelings all through the day and then write them all down in the journal.
I have been writing a diary since I was little, but lost the habit as I was told it was childish. I kept taking occasional mental notes on my phone app until I stumbled upon a book, The Artist's Way from Julia Cameron, where she introduced the morning pages aimed at reconnecting with your creativity. I started writing 3 pages every morning as soon as I woke up, on the train, while having coffee. It changed my life. Essentially, I use it as a brain dump, not much more than that. Writing helps me process emotions and difficult moments. And I've also come up with plenty of ideas, business plans, life changes. For me, writing in the morning before looking at my phone really helps because my mind is not yet affected by all the world's distractions and responsibilities. It really forces me to be honest with myself, calms my mind, helps me to set objectives, sparks my creativity, and helps with healing too. It's not too difficult to maintain the habit because I really enjoy it and I have seen the difference it makes in my life. And on the days my mind is empty or I don't want to write, this is exactly what I write. I have nothing to write for 3 pages.
Journaling is a really important way to get to know yourself and develop a deep relationship with yourself. And this leads to high self-worth and some really great decision making. I have clients who say that they don't even know what they're feeling until they actually start journaling. Often what they end up writing comes as a surprise to them. Other times, it serves to get your many jumbled thoughts and feelings onto paper. There is something very cathartic about doing that and getting some clarity. So how do you maintain the habit? Make it something beautiful and enjoyable that you do at the same time every day. A must is to have a beautiful journal, a beautiful pen, and a private, gorgeous place to sit. Keep it short, 5 minutes maximum. And like everything new, commit to trying it for at least 30 days. It's literally one of my favorite times of the day. Happy journaling.
Our first book is from Amber Lea Starfire, who is an author, editor, and creative writing coach with a passion for journaling and helping others tell their life stories. Her previous books on journaling include Journaling Through Relationships, Journaling the Chakras, and Week by Week, a year's worth of journaling prompts and meditations. She is also the author of Not the Mother I Remember, which was the finalist for the 2015 Next Generation Indie Book Awards and 2013-2014 Sarton Women's Literary Awards, and Accidental Jesus Freak, One Woman's Journey from Fundamentalism to Freedom, as well as co-editor of the award-winning anthology Times They Were Changing, Women Remember the 60s and 70s. Find her at www.writingthroughlife.com. She wrote the definitive guide on journaling, literally, with Journaling for Dummies, which is the book we're looking at. She was kind enough to speak to me, so here is a snippet. But find the full interview on www.howtobe247.com or on the YouTube channel.
Well, journaling for me is a way that I process my thoughts and emotions. And I'm very verbal, and it's something I've done since I was a child. I was one of those little girls that had a little diary, pink diary with a little key lock. And I used to write my feelings in it, even before that was a thing. And part of that might have been due to the fact that I was the only girl in a family of a lot of boys. And it was sort of my personal space. It was the place where I could be alone and, be able to process those things. And it's always been that way for me. So if I have emotions that I need to express, or maybe I'm confused about something, or maybe even I have a big decision I need to make, for me, writing about it can really clarify how I feel. And it cuts through the confusion. That's one of the reasons that I journal. Another is that it's a way of documenting my life. I'm always amazed when I look back. I reread some of my old journals and I'm like, wow, I forgot all about that. Or, I'm writing a memoir like I have, and I use those as resource materials. So that's another good reason. And it helps you understand. You can look back and see, wow, I've really grown since that time in my life. Or, gee, I'm repeating these same old patterns. And it's a tool that covers a wide variety of reasons. Again, for me, the easiest way, and I think that habits, people who write books on forming habits, talk about this, where if you make it a regular part of your day in some way and pair it with other activities. So for me, I often journal while I'm having my cup of coffee in the morning. That's kind of like my paired activity, so to speak. I really enjoy my cup of coffee in the morning. And I really enjoy that quiet time to myself. When my children were small, I didn't have that luxury. And I would actually wake up really early, like 4:30 in the morning, so that I could have time to myself before the kids woke up. Other people might choose to stay up late at night or find time during a break at work. That pairing it with something else, especially something that you enjoy, is a great way to build a habit. And also remember that it doesn't have to be every day. I recommend that because it's easier to make journaling a normal part of your life if you do it every day, at least for a while. But for some people, they feel that urge or need to write. And so you could set it up as 2 or 3 times a week and actually put it on your calendar with a reminder. But then you got to stick to it. There is no way to journal badly. I mean, it's such a personal thing. There is no such thing as wrong or right way to do it. There is no such thing as a wrong or right way to schedule it. And maybe that's part of the issue. Maybe thinking that there's a right way to do it is part of the struggle in and of itself. If you allow yourself to just be you, I think that's the first thing. And then again, why do you want to journal? Do you want to journal because you feel like you should? I mean, that right there is a red flag for me, because you're never going to do anything that you think you should do, if you know what I mean. It's about feeling like you want to or need to, that it provides something for you. So having an idea of what it is you actually want to get out of your journaling time, even on a daily basis. So when I sit down to journal, sometimes I don't have anything in mind. Sometimes I just don't have any worries or things that are pressing on my mind. And I say to myself, okay, what do I want to get out of my time writing this morning? And that's a good place to start. You have to understand what you want out of it. And actually, I do talk about that in Journaling for Dummies in the beginning, and about preparing to write, is looking at your reasons for journaling. Because, I can't say journaling is for everybody 100%, even though I feel like it is. Because I see so many benefits and I think, oh, it's for everybody. But again, everyone is different. And I'm very verbal. Obviously, you can tell speed at which I speak. And some people aren't. And that's where art journaling or things like that, a creative journaling, might be better suited. If you're a more visual thinker, maybe that's the way to start, is to start by using images to express your feelings and thoughts and get playful with it. And then that creates something where you're not just feeling like, oh, I have to put words on the page. Well, again, I think there are as many reasons to journal as there are people. And for me, as I mentioned, processing thoughts, emotions, gaining clarity, self-awareness is a huge one. Reducing stress, I mean, that's well documented. Research has shown that journaling reduces stress and can actually improve your physical health. There are studies linking journaling to improve cardiovascular health, which is very interesting to me. I'm sure probably has to do with reducing stress. it's kind of like making a list of to-dos. You know, how if you write down things, it kind of releases your mind from having to think about them, and you can return to the list. So even just doing to-do lists, which is you could think of as a form of journaling, can reduce stress because you're no longer trying to remember or hold everything in your mind. And it's kind of like that. Some people use journals as their confidant. It's like their person to talk to who's never judgmental, who always listens. It can be a place to play. It can be a place to organize your thinking or even productivity. So you write your goals and you keep track of your goals and things like that. And some people use gratitude journaling. It's very simple, and that's all they do. And that's a great way of journaling, actually. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but just, commit to doing 30 days of journaling just for gratitude. And it's amazing how it can change your outlook. So yeah, there are a lot of reasons. Yes, the gremlin, the inner critic in the room. Yeah, that's a tough one. And I say you write about it. You take it head on. You talk to your inner critic. And in fact, I had one point where I told my inner critic, I said, you know what? You're not welcome here. Get out. I'll call you back in about half an hour, and then you can complain all you want. But for right now, you're not welcome. Actually kind of have to have that internal conversation. And that's self-awareness right there. Understanding that you're judging yourself while you're doing something is really important. And to address it and even get into, well, what are the underlying reasons or fears behind this judgment? What is it that I fear if I don't do this perfectly? And I even have a journaling prompt. Actually, we can talk about fears in general because people have a lot of fear around journaling. It surprises me because it's always been something that I was drawn to naturally. But when I coach and I talk to a lot of people who have struggled with journaling on one level or another, they experience a variety of fears. And one is this fear of imperfection, of not writing something that's worthy or being too banal or whatever. And so that's more of the internal critic fear. And again, addressing that head on. And then there's really two kinds of fears. There's a rational fear and there's irrational, right? Rational fear is the fear you feel when you're being chased by a tiger. That's rational. Or an irrational is when you think there's a snake under your bed when there's not, right? You're having a nightmare. Okay, so there's two kinds of fear. And I think identifying the type of fear that we feel, is this rational or irrational? Is there really some actual consequence that could occur to me because of what I fear? An example of that might be someone who fears that someone's going to read their journal and then so they're afraid to write down their honest thoughts because they're afraid someone's going to read it. Well, you have to look at what's that fear grounded on? Right? If you live in a household where you have a partner who snoops into your things, that's probably a pretty rational fear, right? If you don't live in a household like that and where people respect each other's privacy and boundaries, maybe that's not a rational fear. And so you have to look at what is exactly. So what's the worst thing that could happen if somebody read your journal? What do I fear would happen? And then you write about that. And then you dig even deeper. Well, if that happened, what am I afraid of? So for example, if someone read my journal, I'm afraid they would think less of me. Well, if they thought less of me, what would I be afraid of happening as a result of that? Well, maybe they wouldn't like me anymore. Well, if they didn't like me, what am I afraid of if they didn't like me? And you just keep digging. And finally, sometimes you get down to even it's a fear of mortality or it's a fear of being alone. And then once you have that, you understand the core underlying feeling of that fear or the reason for it, then you can address it. You can say, okay, so what do I need to do to make myself feel safe, right? And then if you have a rational fear, and either way, there's ways to lock your journal up if you like to physically journal. There's ways you could have a little safe somewhere, if it was really. Another way even would be if you like to journal by hand or to do artwork is to do it. Take a picture or PDF scan of it, put it on the cloud, and destroy the original. You can always password protect your online documents. Or use an online journal like you are with your gratitude journal. Unless someone knows your password, they're not likely to get in and mess with it, right? Of course, you're doing it publicly, but yeah.
Starfire says journaling, in the most basic terms, is the practice of recording life events. However, journaling also entails delving into thoughts and emotions by using writing and visual forms of expression for personal growth and development. At its essence, Journaling is a self-help tool that is open-ended and flexible, personal and private, i.e., not designed for publication, a place to freely express feelings and thoughts and to explore any topic of interest, designed to fit your lifestyle and schedule, relaxing and enjoyable, beneficial for mental, emotional, and physical health, used alone or in combination with professional psychological and mental health counseling and other services. However, Starfire says it's not a one-size-fits-all form of exploring life's meaning and experiences. Journaling is also not a substitute for professional psychological mental health services if you want or need help that a professional can provide. It is not rule-based or rigid and not focused on writing crafts such as grammar, spelling, punctuation, or even full sentences. As long as you understand what you write, that's all that matters. And it's not limited to writing. It may also include drawing, doodling, and other visual art forms. Because journaling is a unique personal form of documenting and exploring life's experiences, there are as many purposes for keeping a journal as there are people. Some common reasons for journaling include keeping a record of events from your day-to-day life to the emotional impact of events, processing thoughts and emotions by making your thoughts and feelings more visible to you, managing projects, goals, and tasks. Inspirational ideas have a tendency to blossom into projects. It follows that journaling is a natural and effective way to develop and manage your project-related goals and tasks. Some lesser-known ways that journaling can help you, which you may not have considered before, include developing self-awareness and knowledge, improving decision-making skills, healing trauma and emotional wounds, managing anxiety and depression, enhancing well-being through self-expression and gratitude, strengthening your immune system, collecting ideas, boosting memory and comprehension, building creative and problem-solving skills. Journaling is an easy and inexpensive self-help tool, requiring only an intention to explore life honestly. The way to get started includes defining your primary purpose for journaling. That is, what do you hope to gain from journaling? You might not really know why you're interested in journaling, or conversely, you might have a whole jumble of ideas about why you want to start or resume a journaling practice. To gain clarity for yourself on what's motivating you, she recommends brainstorming your ideas. A list might include: number 1, record my daily events. Number 2, write about my important childhood memories. Number 3, understand myself better. Number 4, have a private place to express my deepest emotions. Number 5, play with poetry. Number 6, create and track my life goals. Number 7, think out loud on the page to improve how I make decisions. Next, decide on whether you want to journal by hand, which is analog, or use a software application, which is digital. Gathering your journaling supplies. So if it's analog, and if you're planning to journal by hand, at minimum you need a notebook that has blank or lined pages and a writing instrument. The benefits of analog include the sensory motor coordination involved in handwriting, which activates most parts of the brain than typing does, while also slowing cognitive processing. The pros of increased brain activity include improved memory and deeper comprehension of concepts. The very act of writing by hand can reduce stress because it slows down thought processes. A paper journal is simple, cheap, and portable. With digital, if you're planning to journal digitally, you need your preferred device, computer, tablet, or smartphone, and a word processing or journaling application that works with your device. The pros include ease of use. It can be stored in multiple places, which keeps it safe, the privacy, versatility, the speed of writing, editing capabilities, and of course the therapeutic value. Make sure whatever medium you choose, you are comfortable with it. Before you get started, you'll need to establish your practice. First, you'll need to make time to write and set boundaries so you have uninterrupted time. A big part of this is also overcoming the fear to get started. Determine what's holding you back. Write a list of things that could go wrong or stand in the way of fulfilling your journaling and writing goals. Why could you be afraid of writing? She says there are 2 types of fear, rational and irrational. Although both kinds of fear are natural and valid, everyone experiences them. You need to understand the differences between the 2. Once your fear is categorized and sorted out, you can journal without, or at least with less, anxiety. Try to avoid procrastinating. Turn off social media and other distractions, and get tools to help you focus. To successfully establish a robust journaling practice, take the following actions. Define your purpose for journaling. Knowing why you want to journal will strengthen your commitment to the practice and help you strong. Next, set practical expectations and start small. Decide how often you want to journal and how much time you want to devote. Then start with a small fraction of your goal. For example, if your goal is to write 20 minutes per session, start by writing 10 minutes each session. By starting off small, you're more likely to be successful at incorporating journaling into your regular routine. Then, put journaling on your calendar. Schedule your journaling time and set a reminder. Keep that date with yourself. Pair journaling with something else you love to do. When you pair a new activity with something you already habitually find pleasure in doing, it activates the pleasure and reward centers in the brain, encouraging your journaling practice to stick. Create a cozy, comfortable, and private place in which to journal. You'll look forward to keeping this special time just for you. And of course, remove distractions. Set yourself up for success by avoiding distractions and interruptions. For example, turn off your telephone and digital notifications. And if you have children, arrange for their care so that they don't interrupt you. Or schedule your sessions for times when you're alone. Identify yourself as a journal writer. You become who you think you are when you see yourself as a person who has a rich journaling practice. You act upon that vision of yourself. Just as there are countless reasons to keep a journal, there are a variety of journaling techniques or methods that have naturally developed over time to meet specific goals. The following list outlines many popular journaling methods. Use it as a guide for the types of journaling that can provide the benefits you hope to gain in your journaling practice. There is unstructured. As the name suggests, this type of journaling is completely free-form, consisting of simply writing whatever is on your mind at the time, also known as free writing. This type of journaling can be used to clear the mind of distracting clutter and stress, so you can think more clearly and calmly. There is reflective, a structured method focused on finding meaning by examining life events and asking deep questions. When you use reflective journaling, you examine emotional responses, thoughts, belief systems, and behaviors to increase self-awareness and potentially take action for improvement. Mindfulness. The goal of this meditative process is to bring your awareness into the present moment through the observation of thoughts, feelings, and surroundings. Benefits of mindfulness journaling include feelings of peace, reduced stress, and increased well-being. Bullet journaling is a structured system developed in 2013 by Ryder Carroll to organize thinking and remain focused on important priorities. Bullet journaling helps to increase productivity, document and track life events, and build desired habits, among other benefits. Creative. Most journaling methods focus on writing. Creative journaling, which may be incorporated into any other journaling methods, allows for self-expression by using a variety of mostly visual methods. Along with writing, creative journaling may include drawing, doodling, painting, photo collages, and other forms of multimedia. Digital versions of creative journaling may also include audio and video. Gratitude. This focuses specifically on identifying things and people in your life to be thankful for, with the purpose of building an overall sense of gratitude. Benefits of gratitude journaling include decreased stress levels, increased self-awareness, a different or renewed perspective on challenges, improved emotional health, and enhanced happiness. Although you don't need to go through this in any particular order for best results, ask yourself, what am I looking to gain by journaling? Before our next book, here are Hortense Julien, owner of Miss Nung Treats, Sasha Yankovic, an award-winning medical journalist and the creator of the Write It Out Journaling for Mental Health course to encourage people to develop a regular writing practice, and Matt Young, founder of the Journaling Guy, on their thoughts.
I'm addicted to journaling. Pen and paper are my best tool to journal. I will pick up the most colorful notebooks, darting them around the house so that I don't forget to write something. And when I can't find where I dumped the notebook, I will write it on a post-it that I would then stick in the notebook. I love journaling because it empties my brains and it empties my mind before bedtime or early in the morning, making space ready for the next experience, for the next history to be committed to paper. How to maintain the habit? It's a question of trying it a few times and see how you feel. It refreshes the brain. It makes space. So once you've done it a few times, you want to do it again because it leaves your mind empty, making space for the next best thing.
I started to journal as a way of being honest with myself about what I was really thinking and feeling about things. But there are benefits of journaling for mental health. We know that journaling about your feelings is linked with decreased mental distress. For example, researchers from Penn State University in the US found that people with anxiety who wrote for 15 minutes 3 days a week had increased well-being and fewer depressive symptoms after 1 month. Then another study from Harvard Medical School suggests that disclosing deep emotions through writing can boost immune function as well as mood and well-being. So how do you start and keep up the habit? Well, try to write every day, even if it's just for a few minutes and at whatever time suits you best. Julia Cameron, the author of the best-selling book The Artist's Way, writes 3 pages, no more, no less, of what she calls morning pages as the first thing she does every day in order to clear her head. The next tip is make it easy. So if stationery is your thing, treat yourself to a new notebook and pen, or if you prefer to make notes on your phone or your computer, do it that way. And don't worry about what you're writing. Don't feel you have to edit as you go along. Just write whatever comes out. And remember that your journal is your own private space and no one else needs to see it. In fact, you don't even ever need to read it again if you don't want to. Many people fill up their journal and then burn it or chuck it in the recycling once it's done. And finally, I think little and often is the key for developing a regular practice, just like with any habit that you're trying to build.
Of course, I think journaling is important because it's what I do for a living. But it has literally been a lifesaver for me personally and many of the other people that I've worked with. Journaling is a bit like keeping a diary, but it does go a lot deeper than that. I've learned so much about myself from simply writing down my own thoughts and feelings and being really honest with myself. That's key. Writing in a journal has loads of different benefits, helping you track your own progress, grow your self-confidence, reduce stress and anxiety. I've learned a lot about gratitude and ultimately simply stopping all those thoughts and feelings from just running around inside your head. When you start to experience the benefits, the habit of journaling becomes second nature. But in those early days, I would make it the first thing I did when I got out of bed. You need to make it part of your routine or you'll find excuses and then you'll lose the habit. A lot of people find journaling about their day just before they go into bed is also a great time to create this habit.
Our next book is from Dr. Lucia Capacchione, who is the best-selling author of The Creative Journal, The Art of Finding Yourself, Recovery of Your Inner Child, and many other creative journal method books for recovery, healing, and life planning. Dr. Capacchione is an Italian-American psychologist, art therapist, former graphic designer, and writer. Here she is speaking on her own YouTube channel.
I've been keeping a journal for 36 years, which in fact is half of my lifetime. I discovered journaling when I was very ill at age 35. I was suffering with an illness that doctors could not diagnose, nor could they treat it. But I discovered that when I wrote and drew my feelings out, my dreams, my wishes, and some of my experiences, I felt better. Why did I draw? Because I'm an artist. And so I turned my sketchbooks, I turned my artist's sketch pads and sketchers' diaries into a journal. And I took those blank pieces of paper and I started to let my inner life out on that paper. All it took was a bunch of felt pens, very simple. And what I came up with was a method of journal keeping, which I call the Creative Journal. I've written 13 books, but my first book, and still I think the classic in the field, art journaling and visual journaling, is the Creative Journal. And this book combines drawing and writing. Because I became an art therapist as a result of this journey, I use art therapy techniques. So basically, when people use the Creative Journal method, they are drawing their feelings out and then writing about them. And the drawing comes from the unconscious, it's spontaneous, it's childlike, it's colorful, it's extremely expressive. It's exactly what we do in art therapy. So the Creative Journal is really a method for becoming your own art therapist, basically. Because if you're keeping a journal on a regular basis, You're able to get your inner life onto the page and see what's going on. Journaling is for looking at the past. It's for being introspective about the present, and it's also being imaginative about the future.
Originally released in 1980, Dr. Capacchione's Creative Journal has become a classic in the fields of art therapy, memoir, and creative writing, art journaling, and creativity development. She defines emotional literacy as the ability to speak, understand, and communicate using the language of emotions. Along with facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice, the arts are the language of emotions. Judging from the high rate of violence and bullying in our society, we need emotional literacy more than ever today. Similarly, forming the handwritten word on paper involves movements and graphic expressions that are unique to the individual. Like fingerprints, our handwriting is a one-of-a-kind phenomenon. Cursive script reflects our inner world and who we are at any given time, hence she recommends putting pen to paper. Her own journal was born during a period of personal crisis. She had come to a dead end after going through a rapid series of major changes. In 4 years, she had gotten a divorce, moved 4 times, and had several different freelance jobs as a design and education consultant. She was also raising 2 young daughters. She came to creative journaling, which is a tool for personal growth using journal writing and drawing. A creative journal helps to express feelings and thoughts, play with new media of expression, color, images, symbols, sort out the seemingly random experiences in your life, make more conscious choices and decisions, define and implement changes, get a clearer picture of your creative potential and how to use it, deal with creative blocks and negative patterns, enrich your relationship with yourself and others, and finally find deeper meaning in your life. The creative journal is not a closed method, but an open-ended creative approach that continues to grow with different applications. Your journal is a place to let yourself out, channel your private inner world into a tangible form. The page becomes a mirror for seeing yourself more clearly. The exercises are done through different forms of expression. This includes drawings, doodles, and scribbles, prose and poetry, dramatic dialogues and letters, graphs and charts, colors, abstract designs, images, and symbols. She refers to French-born American diarist Anais Nin, who writes, "The diary taught me that it is in the moments of emotional crisis that human beings reveal themselves most accurately. I learned to choose the heightened moments because they are the moments of revelation." Many journal keepers report that they began their journals during a crisis or major transition. These events are often accompanied by deep feelings such as pain, loss, grieving, confusion, anger, fear, and/or insecurity. At such times, a person is often compelled to do some serious soul-searching. This is when creative journal keeping can be extremely helpful as a means for sorting out life experiences and feelings that seem overwhelming. Of course, one does not have to be in a major or mini crisis in order to benefit from journal exploration. For some, it is an essential part of the never-ending process of personal growth. Like Starfire, Dr. Capacchione suggests guidelines that includes finding a good setting that is quiet and private, one that is comfortable and conducive to meditation and self-reflection. She says, use your journal when you feel like it. Write or draw when you have something to express, you want to work with specific exercises, or you simply want to be alone with yourself. It also means being spontaneous and writing or drawing when you feel like you need to express yourself. Remember to try and protect your privacy, though feel free to share selected passages in safe environments if you wish to do so. When you're ready to work in your journal, set aside a block of uninterrupted time of 15 minutes or more. Gather your materials, notebook and writing or drawing tools, and settle down in the place you have chosen to be with yourself. Creativity flows more naturally when you are relaxed, so it is helpful to become as relaxed as possible before you begin work. The first group of exercises focuses on your present and past. You start by exploring feelings in the immediate present, and then step back for a panoramic view of your entire life up to now. You'll take inventory of what is and consider some changes toward what could be. Turn your attention inward and ask yourself, how do I feel right now? Close your eyes and meditate on the question for a while. Pay attention to physical sensations and emotional feelings. See if any visual images or words come to mind which express how you feel at this moment in time. Next, ask yourself the question, What do my inner and outer selves look and feel like at this time in my life? Think of your inner self as your internal private world of physical sensations, emotional feelings, fantasies, memories, wishes, and thoughts. Your outer self is the part of you that shows to the outside world, the ways in which you express yourself for others to see, your activities, behavior, accomplishments, body, and environment. Close your eyes and meditate on your inner and outer selves. This is a tool for examining conflict and gaining perspective. Or how about looking back over the day and ask yourself, what kind of day was it? What were the highlights? Close your eyes and, in your mind's eye, replay the movie of your day. Start out by visualizing the first waking moment and then go on to retrace your steps through the day up to the present moment. Recall what happened as best as you can, pausing for a second at the highlights, the significant thoughts, feelings, events, interactions, people, and places. This exercise can help you tie up loose ends, clear your mind, put things into perspective, and perhaps clarify some lines of future action. Think back over your entire life up to the present and ask yourself, what have been the key events and experiences in my life? Go back to your very first memories and go slowly through your life. Close your eyes as you do this in order to more clearly visualize your memories. Pause to reflect on the most significant events and periods of time. Recall the experiences and feelings associated with them as vividly as you can. Drawing a timeline is an invaluable tool or map for further explorations of the self through such forms as autobiographical writings, short stories, poems, drawings of scenes, events, and people. It is also helpful for doing self-inventory of repeated patterns and cycles. Reflect upon this period in your life right now and ask yourself, where am I at in my life right now? Think about what kind of a time this is for you. See if there was a particular event or experience that marked the beginning of this period. Then think about the chief characteristics of this period, the quality of your life right now. Is it a hectic time, a calm period, a time of crisis, a period of transition and change, a dull, stagnant period? Close your eyes and meditate on your life at the present time. This is an excellent way to take stock periodically, to keep current with your inner response to the conditions that surround you. Or how about thinking about the present time in your life and asking, what do I like about myself and my life right now? Visualize yourself in the aspects of your personality, in the settings and situations you like so much. Include such things as behavior, attitudes, physical characteristics, skills, and achievements. Picture the environments, activities, relationships you enjoy the most. Experience the good feelings associated with all of these elements. Think about the major challenge or problem in your life right now. Ask yourself, what am I struggling with? Is it within me or without? Close your eyes and visualize your struggle. See if any images come to mind. Really feel the nature of the struggle and see if you have any physical reactions or symptoms that seem related to it, such as a pain in the neck, headache, upset stomach, etc. Or ask yourself, what do I believe about myself? What are my personality traits, my patterns of behavior, my talents and potential, my limitations? Draw the struggle. Give the drawing a name. View your relationship with the world around you and the people, places, and things that make up your personal environment. You'll examine your connection with the elements that surround you every day and see how they live inside you. You'll also have the opportunity to study your values and beliefs as they are expressed outwardly and see yourself from some new angles. Focus in on your life at the present time and ask, who is the most important person? We all carry within us rich sources of wisdom. Often, this wisdom speaks to us in its own language of symbols as revealed in dreams, fantasies, and poetic imagery. However, this kind of symbolism seems strange and mysterious to most people in our culture, and they dismiss things such as dreams and fantasies as being irrational and meaningless. So most of our dreams are akin to elusive, ethereal butterflies that flutter by in the night only to vanish when we open our eyes to daylight. So the exercise includes dream recall and documentation. Now it's time to look into the future by exploring your wishes and fantasies. With the power of your imagination, you can design the blueprints and lay the foundation for the days and years to come. You can choose where you really want to go and how you want to get there, creating the roadmap for finding the unlimited buried treasure within yourself. Then go back to your early memories and ask yourself, what did I want to be when I grew up? Review the years from childhood and adolescence. Remember, all the things you wanted to be, no matter how far out or silly they seem to you now. For example, young children sometimes want to be animals, mythical characters, superheroes, and the like. This exercise encourages you to revive your childlike sense of make-believe and fantasy as a means for developing your creative imagination. In the end, an important feature of journal keeping is that it provides you with a tangible, permanent record of your own growth, a rear-view mirror, so to speak. Looking back at where you've been can be very illuminating and give you a new sense of perspective. It may reveal patterns that repeat themselves. Seeing your patterns or cycles opens you to choices and the possibility of alternatives. Sometimes, journal review can unearth some jewels of wisdom that got buried somehow. So to sum up, Starfire says in Journaling for Dummies that there are many benefits to it, including developing self-awareness and knowledge, improving decision-making skills and healing trauma and emotional wounds. Get started with journaling by defining your primary purpose for journaling. That is, what do you hope to gain from journaling? Deciding whether you want to journal by hand or use a software application. Gather your journaling supplies, whether that's analog or digital. Determine what type of journaling you want to do and, if appropriate, begin with some writing prompts, or you can just begin writing whatever comes to mind. There are different types of journaling, which include unstructured, reflective, mindfulness, bullet, creative, and gratitude. Dr. Kapacchione says in the Creative Journal that is not a closed method, but an open-ended creative approach that continues to grow with different applications. Your journal is a place to let yourself out, channel your private inner world into a tangible form. The page becomes a mirror for seeing yourself more clearly. It is also a medium for conversing freely with yourself. Starting with self-communication in private, you can then develop your ability to communicate with others. Being clear with yourself opens the way for being more clear with others about how you feel and think, enriching your relationships and social interactions. I'm terrible at maintaining a daily journal, even though I mean to because I know the benefits, hence I would love 2023 to be the year I can keep to it. What about you? Please join in on the conversation by following at howtobe247 on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and subscribe on the podcast, which can be found via www.howtobe247.com. And there's bonus material that you can't miss at patreon.com/howtobe247. Just one more thing. Please do leave a review if you found this helpful. Thanks to consultant and producer Susan Gold for your lovely comments, calling the podcast well produced. Thanks for listening this season, and we'll be back very soon with some absolutely amazing people. Thanks to all those who participated as well, including all the amazing authors. Please listen back to previous episodes in the meantime, and keep following on the social media channels for all book recommendations and updates. Remember to listen to the very end, as I wanted to introduce the excellent podcast, The Comfortable Spot, with Ken Sweeney, who just started their second season. Before we go, here is Nicole Russin McFarland, who is a film score composer and film director. Rachel Lemon, who is a life coach with over 30 years' experience as a registered healthcare professional and has represented and influenced change in policy at national level for many years. She was awarded an honorary membership of the Royal Pharmaceutical Society for her distinguished services to pharmacy and is also a domestic abuse warrior and advocate for change, as well as co-founder of the Manifestation Journal, Ted Lawler, and Georgie Sinclair, who is a facilitator and the community manager at Flown. Flown facilitates in take-off journaling sessions that run 4 times a day. Anyone can try Flown for free with their 30-day trial. See you for Season 3.
I love journaling ever since last summer when I took a very affordable course you can do at home where you spill out your emotions and all of your feelings in order to become a better actor, actress, singer, composer, playwright, businessman, businesswoman, person, human being. You want to be a better person. And it is called The Artist's Way, not because you are an artist. It's because it's viewing everyone's work as art. You will find there's a section called morning pages. I don't do them in the morning. And I also think because I want to be eco-friendly, this book was written before iPhones. I like doing everything digitally. So I spill my feelings to my diary every morning, but it could be at night. It doesn't have to be 3 pages. It could be like 1 paragraph. I feel like sometimes you don't have to say a lot. You do a mix of things, like you can vent. You can also rant to God. You can plead with God. If you don't believe in God, you can talk to the universe or nature, according to the book. But the book's kind of open. It's not a specific religion or any religion, I would say. You can discuss things and in between some stream of consciousness, like today, somebody was really nice and didn't charge me for something that normally people get charged for. That was true. And then in between all these things, you come up with ideas like, my character is going to be doing this, or, like my business used to be doing this. It could be something from your past that's very traumatic. It could be something from when you were 4 years old, or, like my neighbor told me this secret and I wish I had done something, or I wish I had helped this person. It could be anything. And I also noticed when I was following this journal that I got these like prolific, crazy things coming into my head. Your destiny is not this. Your destiny is to be on camera. Like, and you were planning before to kind of be on camera, mostly direct and write, to be a composer, but not to sing or rap or sing country music. You love country music. What are you doing? And I felt like my diary was just telling me all this stuff. It was incredible and so beautiful, very spiritual. And I'm not somebody who was born a spiritual person or even feels right now that I'm super spiritual, but I feel like I'm having some kind of connections to the universe of being told things. And it's beautiful. It will happen to you if you journal, but it's only going to happen if you're 100% honest. Because if you aren't authentic with your journal about things you really want to do, and then a week later you're like, I have to do this, or I'm going to do this thing that I always thought about, it's not going to help you.
Why do I journal? Increases your sense of gratitude. It helps you track your personal growth, helps me find my voice. It's a safe space for me to write down my thoughts and feelings. It's a good way to let things go. It's a good way to develop self-love. I have routine to maintain journaling, so I meditate first. I cleanse my space with smudging. I light a candle. I choose any crystals that I'm drawn to for healing. And then I express gratitude for what I need to release. And then I'm open to what comes in. And I free write and let my pen flow. 3 questions you could ask yourself every morning. What's my intention for the day? How can I show up for myself today? One small thing I can do to brighten my day.
For me, journaling is a crucial part of my morning and evening routines. I start off the day by using a daily projection segment of my journal to analyse how I feel that morning, outline my goals, write out my affirmations and tap into my visualisations. I then use the evening journaling as my time to review the day and put any changes in place to make sure I have an even better start to the day tomorrow. All of this aligns my day to help me focus on achieving my goals, as I often found it very easy to get distracted and fall off track, mainly due to my ADHD. Having a journal that has all these prompts laid out has really helped, as it allows me to stick to this practice, as I don't have to think too much about where to start writing. I just let my thoughts flow onto the paper. If you'd like to find out more about my best-selling journal, go to www.manifestationjournal.co.uk.
I'm also an avid journaler. I tend to follow the morning page style of journaling, which was made popular by Julia Cameron in The Artist's Way. This method of journaling is a free flow method. You write what comes into your head, whatever it is, write it down, allow the thoughts to flow through the pen onto the page. It's a really good way of getting rid of incessant thoughts that might be going around your head, and also a really great way of discovering ideas. So it's brilliant for creativity. I recommend to keep the habit going, you do it at the same time every day. So for me, when I get up, make a cup of tea and I'll sit down and just write for around 20 minutes. I highly recommend everyone do this as a practice, whether it's morning pages or writing in response to a prompt. You won't regret the time journaling.
Hi, I'm Ken Sweeney. This is The Comfortable Spot. The Comfortable Spot is a series of conversations with interesting people from different walks of life. You may not know all of them, but you might find them intriguing, so I hope you are sitting comfortably and happy to stay with us. You can find The Comfortable Spot on Google, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favourite podcasts.